So the other day I was playing Call of Duty, raging as most people do in this toxic game. Then I heard something. God? Is that you? It was a small, still voice beckoning me to step foot into gaming worlds I have never entered, and others I cherish dearly, while also hunting some of their most difficult achievements in the process. That's when I chose to embark on a mission where most people would be afraid to go. That is if you have more than 5 viewers, unlike myself. But that doesn't matter! Today we step foot in the world Sarah to take back what has been ripped from our hands by the Locust Horde. While there are other achievements we could have attempted in this playthrough, my research team has told me that I cannot do it blindfolded, unless this video gets 1,000 likes, and also the seriously achievement is impossible with these dusty servers. This leaves one achievement that will require us to become someone else. Something else. Commando. As the name suggests, this achievement is not for the faint of heart. It requires you to beat the entire campaign on the game's hardest difficulty, Insane Mode. So as I got comfortable in my chair with a cup of coffee in my hand, I was preparing myself for the toll this would take mentally, physically, and spiritually. The first of 5 acts begins as our main character Marcus Phoenix is broken out of prison by her best friend Dom in order to help fight against the Locust Horde. Skipping the tutorial as any normal gamer would do, we come face to face with our enemy, which surprisingly goes pretty well.
We are moving your location. Over.
This is gonna be cake. But moments later is when the real test of our gaming skills began. Well, okay. Maybe I was mistaken. Okay. At this point, I thought about giving the tutorial a shot, but the inner Call of Duty player in me would not allow me to. So we restarted the checkpoint no matter how many deaths it took, and it took quite a few. Finally making it past our first encounter with the Locust, we hop on a chopper and escape the prison as it's being destroyed by a corpser. It's also at this moment we get to meet the rest of Delta Squad, Sergeant Kim and Private Carmine. I chose not to go into detail on these characters for reasons that you'll understand later. Unless you've played this game before, then you get it. After landing the chopper, we are given orders by General Hoffman, who happens to be the exact same guy who had Marcus imprisoned. Pretty awkward. The squad is then ordered to find Alpha Team and secure the resonator device in their possession. Basically, this device is used to map out the Locust tunnels so that we can drop off a light mass bomb on their front door and save the world. But as we'll find out later on, it's not really that simple. After receiving our orders at Embry Square, we then begin our search for Alpha Squad. We even learned a pretty cool trick about reloading. To reload faster, gain a damage bonus, press RB again at the right time. Nice. Oh, interesting. Maybe I should have done the tutorial. As we're moving towards Alpha Team's last known location, we come across another Locust Horde, but this time they are coming from the ground. These emergence holes can actually be destroyed pretty quickly by a grenade, but if you're like me and listen to Dom's orders, you'll just die trying to flank them. But it wasn't really dying each time that made these so awful to play through. It was watching these really weird video shots that they had in the game. What is this place, the Coliseum? Anyways, after listening to Dom one too many times, we chose to use our own tactics, and it turned out a lot better. After moving into the building up ahead, we came across some COG soldiers that seemed to be taking a load off during the war. That is if you're blind like Sergeant Kim.
Control, this is Delta. We have visuals on Alpha. Possible KIA.
Possible, bro?
Roger that, Delta. Keep looking.
I don't know if that's possible. I think it's pretty clear what happened here. These guys got ripped apart more than I did playing Left 4 Dead for the first time. But just to be sure, we needed to take a closer look at our sleeping friends. Upon arriving down below, that is after we spent an hour trying to get through this building with our cat-like reflexes and tactile evasive maneuvers, we confirmed that our buddies were indeed sleeping on the job, but they will not be waking up. Like, ever. Unfortunately for us though, our sleepy friends do not have the resonator. This forced our team to continue moving ahead into the House of Sovereign. But first, we had to deal with this guy. With the Troika turret in the Locust hands, you probably already know what Dom wants us to do. And if you said flank, you're absolutely right. So we gave it a shot, and I'm not really surprised how it turned out. Dude! What? But something inside told me to give Dom's idea one more chance. With a perfectly timed sprint and a dip, dodge, duck, and dive later, we made it across the street without a scratch, snuck behind enemy lines and took out the enemy with ease, mainly because they barely gave us a glance. But sneaking behind enemy lines would no longer be of help to us as we came to a fork in the road later on. We didn't really know what path would be easiest, so we chose our direction in the most foolproof way that I knew how.
Looks like we need to split up.
Left or right? That is the question. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by its toe. Left. Unfortunately for us, my shot took a turn for the worse and I was absolutely obliterated by a locust moments later. So we tried the right path the second time and it worked out much better. We even got to use the sweet troika turret that the other guy had earlier. How the turns have tabled, am I right? After this, we cleared out the courtyard in front of the House of Sovereign and grouped up to discuss our next move. Things seem to be going extremely well. As Carmine fixes his jammed gun, I can't imagine anything bad happening whatsoever. Carmine! No! If Carmine's death wasn't traumatizing enough, we then had to fight off another locust horde before making it inside the House of Sovereign. After clearing this area, we came across one of the privates from Alpha Squad that seems to be doing just fine on his own.
That was beautiful, baby.
State your name, soldier.
Private Augustus Cole, Alpha Squad, sir.
Coal? As in the coal train?
Yeah, that's right.
Standing at 6'4" and 230 pounds of pure muscle, Cole was a successful thrashball player on Sarah before the war. When the Locust showed up, he took his thrashball abilities to a different field. After we pick up Cole, we're informed that the Cedars are jamming our comm system. And to take them out, we got to use the coolest gun in the game. Named after yours truly, by the way. Hammer of Dawn? SamTheHammerman? Get it? Whatever. The Hammer of Dawn is a satellite-based weapon composed of emulsion crystals that deliver a single laser beam wherever it's locked on.
The laser!
After destroying all the Cedars, we cleared the area outside the tomb and waited for the chopper to rescue Delta Team and Alpha Team with the resonator in hand. But moments before our rescue, we were ambushed by a group of locusts and this ugly-looking dude named General Rom. Not only was our chopper completely destroyed, but Sergeant Kim was also taken out by Mr. Ugly. This would force our newly formed squad of Marcus, Dom, Cole, and Baird, and this extra guy, into the tombs of which we would face our greatest foe yet.
Oh my God. Control, this is Delta. We have a berserker in the vicinity.
Yeah, I don't know if he's coming back. These creatures can smell you, hear you, and have incredible strength they use to bust through cement walls and beat you to death, as we saw a second ago. The only weapon powerful enough to take it out is the Hammer of Dawn, so we slowly lured it through the halls of the tombs, using the berserker's incredible strength to open doors we couldn't. After a few moments of time and some extremely close calls, we made it outside and used the Hammer of Dawn to take it out. Tag 'em and bag 'em, baby. Let them fry. We're making French fries. We completed Act 1 and we're moving on to Act 2. Given orders by Hoffman, we would need to infiltrate an emulsion factory to get to the Locust tunnels underground, but getting there quickly was the issue. So the objective in Act 2 is to find a faster route to the emulsion facility, since General Hoffman couldn't lend us a vehicle to get there. Pretty cheap if you ask me. Thankfully, Dom has a friend in the Stranded district named Franklin, but not the turtle that you're thinking of. Trust me, I was disappointed too. But what Franklin does have is a vehicle that we can use to get to the emulsion facility. But first, we would need to find our way to the Stranded district. We made it throughout the ruined city without too many issues, but as we neared the last checkpoint, we ran into a small issue. This road was the only thing separating us from the Stranded district, and honestly, the turret wasn't near the issue I thought it was going to be. The real issue was actually my own blind eyes that cost us the first attempt. What did I even get killed from? Now for those blind like me, let's see that one more time. Yeah, I wouldn't trust me if you're looking for callouts in Warzone. Upon finally taking out the emergence hole with a perfectly timed grenade, we met up with Franklin and kindly persuaded him to give us the keys to the junker, but Baird and Cole would have to stay behind until we got back. We were finally on our way to pick up the junker, and normally a mission like this would be pretty easy, but when you're running in the dark and fighting against the krill, or as I like to call them, flying piranhas, it makes things a bit difficult. Our only defense against these flying instruments of death is the light. Didn't Jesus say something about using the light too? Anyways, as we make it to the checkpoint, we get one good look at just how dangerous the krill really are.
Coming over. Stay under the light.
Oh, shit.
Oh my gosh. I told you guys, flying piranhas. After refilling on ammo, we were on our way to the next checkpoint through the Dark City, using propane tanks on the ground as the only deterrent for the krill. I was honestly super proud of myself up to this point. The game hadn't been too bad and I really hadn't died a lot. But what I didn't know at this point in time is that all of this would soon change as we were nearing the gas station. When we arrived, we would have to defend ourselves as the junker filled up with gas. And that's when I found out just how terrible I was at this game. For the next 2 hours, I was continuously getting beat down by the locust form of Jason Bourne, or the small wretches that that are the easiest enemies in the game. But none of these deaths could deter me from my mission, my goal. I would not be broken down. I would not give up. I would not lose composure. Okay, that last one may have been a lie, but nevertheless, we finally had a breakthrough, took out the Locust, and needed to go back to pick up Cole and Baird. Unfortunately for us, I am the world's worst driver, and especially when you mix in a 100% chance of flying piranhas. So it took us quite a while to get back to the stranded district, and upon arrival, they were in the middle of an ambush of the Locust and Krill. Thankfully, this portion turned out to be pretty easy if you just use a sniper rifle and throw a grenade into the emergence holes. The most difficult part was really just when the 6 boomers emerged in the courtyard of our base. But with an overabundance of grenades and the perfect angle, we made pretty short work of them. Dag 'em back, boys. All in a day's work.
Almost had us that time.
Yo, let's go. Complete Act 2 on Insane. Yes, baby. Once we completed Act 2, we were finally on our way to the Emulsion Factory. The objective of Act 3 is to make our way into the emulsion mines and deploy the resonator device at the location that will show us the best place to deliver our bomb. I mean, Christmas card. But upon nearing the destination, our junker lives up to the name and breaks down on the outskirts of the Emulsion Factory. As we are walking our way to the facility, we see a glowing enemy in the distance. These wretches are actually a lot different than the other screaming trolls. Not only can they take you out in 2 swipes, but these wretches also have been directly exposed to emulsion, making them extremely dangerous and explosive. So yeah, that's annoying. But we'll get to that in a minute. After finding out the front doors are locked, we split up to find a way inside. Dom and Marcus find a way into the factory above ground, while Cole and Baird find another smellier route. After we get inside, we continue to move towards the cart control room in order to gain access to the mines. That's when we come across the lab that these Lambent wretches actually broke into, and let's just say they don't really like scientists. Like, at all. After clearing the area, we find a single-stranded survivor that almost blows our head off. Fortunately for us, he joins the squad and leads us out of the lab and towards the control room. But, unfortunately for him, his time on Delta Squad would be very short-lived.
If we cut through here, we'll be all right.
Rest in peace, stranded man. This portion would have been extremely challenging for us too if I hadn't actually had to play the entire campaign on casual before the insane mode attempt. So we kind of knew where to go. But don't worry, moments later we got absolutely punished for it. After we snuck our way into the cart holding area, there was a cluster of Lambent wretches waiting for us. And for some reason, this is where my gaming skills actually decided to clock out for the day. The worst part of this actually wasn't dying to the wretches over and over again. The worst part was listening to the unskippable wretches scream every single time we had to restart. We've tried going backwards. Like, what other direction can we go? And I'm tired of hearing them freaking scream like that, bro. Yeah, imagine that for 2 hours. After barely making it through, we took out a couple boomers, meet up with Cole and Baird again, and arrive at the cart control room. We then rode these buckets of fun all the way to some elevators that led right to the Locust tunnels. Sure, we died to a boomer who had a better shot than Hawkeye and had to restart the entire checkpoint, but that's besides the point. Once we made it into the belly of the Locust tunnels, we began closing in on the Resonator's deployment location. I couldn't help think how crazy it was that the Locusts were living in these tunnels under the world's crust for years before they emerged. Kinda makes me wonder what other things might be living in the earth. Yeah, never mind. But our intrusive thoughts were quickly pushed to the side as we came face to face with an 8-legged freak, the Corpser. There's really no other way to explain this creature other than it looks like a mutated spider, and I hate spiders, bro. So like Ron Weasley in The Prisoner of Azkaban, we were forced to face our fears, but unlike Ron, we didn't use a magic wand. We died immediately. How did that kill me, bro? Oh my gosh. So after more extensive research, we found out that these Corpsers actually have a weaker stomach than a dad changing a diaper. So we took some low blows, slowly backing him up just enough to dump him in a pool of lambent sauce. Yes! Broken fingers, baby. Now we were finally able to move forward and place the resonator in the defined location. Or so I thought. As soon as we got to the defined location, we came face to face with a new enemy, the Theron Guards. These guys are basically upgraded locusts that have a torque bow that if it hits you, kills you instantly. This ended up taking us quite a while. At first we tried to run and gun and that stopped almost immediately due to having arrow after arrow plunged into my skull. We then tried to throw grenades in before we arrived, only to have Dom kamikaze me as he was struck by a torque bow himself. Oh, I switched it for the... Dom got me killed. Dom got me killed, bro. I'm freaking... There was even one attempt in which there was one enemy left separating us from this checkpoint, and that ended, well, not good. It was at this point I was ready to give up, but something inside me just couldn't deal with letting my 5 viewers down, so we did what we had to do. We listened to the invigorating words of the greatest gladiator who ever lived.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
Inspired, we were ready for another attempt. This time we would make them pay, taking down enemy after enemy, slicing through them as a knife slices butter. The tables had turned, finally leaving one last there on guard. Upon taking him down, our past self was finally avenged.
Nice job. Okay, time to go home. Baird, you set up the resonator.
Yes, baby.
Get that elevator back
Thank
online.
you. Finally, bro. We deployed the resonator and completed Act 3. It seemed like things were finally starting to look up for Delta Team. That is until Act 4. Word comes in that the resonator didn't give us near enough information to drop the light mass bomb effectively, but shockingly enough, Baird found a geobot device on the ground that had the entire Locust tunnels mapped out already. It also reveals the exact location where all of this began, Marcus' father's house. Upon this discovery, we must travel the long way home. Unfortunately, the Locust heard every single word and attacked the choppers as we were en route, forcing us to land in the courtyard just outside the Academy's location. This portion wasn't actually that bad. We fought our way through the courtyard, took out a couple of boomers, and even got to use the Hammer of Dawn again. Dom and I continued to move forward, closing in on the mansion's location. But on our way, we had to walk through a pretty fascinating exhibit of trees and flowers, and it was going pretty well. That is until we saw an abnormally placed Hammer of Dawn, and things began to get quiet. A little too quiet.
One thing. Probably a berserker.
We came across another berserker in which we would have to take down before making it to the academy. I felt pretty confident since we'd already taken one down earlier, but this confidence actually ended up being my downfall. The second attempt, we were much more careful and didn't make the same mistake, trusting my own ego. After making it a little further through the area, we came across a portion which was a lot more intense. The Locust not only had a Troika turret laying down fire, but emergence holes and a Thayer on guard waiting for his chance with the torque bow. Although with much trial and error, we finally took down all the enemies in the area and just needed to move out, but the direction was uncertain. The game had to have glitched or something because I literally spent the next 20 minutes wandering around, shooting doors, trying to move on to the next checkpoint. Unfortunately for us, this only left us with one option: reload the last checkpoint and do it all over again. Immediately after we reloaded this checkpoint, I was welcomed back with a torque bow right in my forehead. But after finally clearing all the enemies for the second time in this area, these doors finally opened like they were supposed to, and we were able to move on to the next portion. Clearing out the locusts and the guards in this area wasn't that bad if you kept your distance, but moving further on is where it got really difficult. First, I decided to test my pistol skills in the graveyard, which is perfect timing because the locust had a grave with my name on it. But the second attempt, after we put the pistol down, went a lot better. We were able to take down both turrets and the straggling enemies, even despite the small interruption by the research team barking at the door. We finally arrived at the steps leading to the Phoenix Mansion. This part of the game has some basic locusts, Theron guards, and boomers just like normal, trying to keep you from entering the house, which sounds pretty bad. But honestly, with a few well-timed grenades and a torque bow in hand, it really wasn't that bad. The mansion itself actually wouldn't have been that bad either. That is, unless you're way overconfident in your gaming abilities like myself. After I checked my ego for what felt like the 100th time, we found the basement and would need to search out for the hidden lab underground. After we found the lab, we would have to hold out against the locust while our AI floaty robot opened the door, because apparently we can't kick this door down. So we prepared the best way we knew how: continuous grenade spamming and shooting from cover, which actually was the best plan that we had so far, and it was working extremely well. So well, in fact, that for some reason I chose to get up and walk towards the remaining enemies, thinking I could take them on, sabotaging myself. And this particular guy took advantage of me not just once, but twice. After this, I vowed that I would absolutely destroy this locust and avenge myself if I cornered him alone. And boy oh boy did the man up top provide.
This is the one that's had it out for me the whole time, bro. And I'm gonna get him.
You know what? This is what's gonna happen.
Marcus, it's open.
That's what happens. Don't mess with the Hammerman, okay? Could you get the chainsaw? After gaining access into the lab, we then started the data download on the Locust tunnels, and there were a lot. While we waited for the download, we made our way back upstairs to defend the house while Cole and Baird went to prepare the armored vehicle for our escape. Honestly, the end of this portion was absolutely brutal. First, we were defending the house from the inside, then the Locust bust in the door with a boomer carrying a fire stick like the Orokai at Helm's Deep. But once we picked up the hammer burst from one of the fallen Locusts, it was game over. By the way, can anyone confirm that the enemy guns are actually better than the COG guns, or am I just crazy? Once we made it outside, I didn't think there was any way we'd be able to make it past this part alive on the first try. But my friend, this time, I was happy to be wrong. Running as fast as we could to the armored vehicle in a hail of gunfire and grenades, we finished Act 4, leading us into Act 5, the final act of the game. Gosh, yes! I was so worried about this part. We did it on the first try. Completed Act 4 on insane, baby. Number 4 is done. In the bag. With the Brumac chasing our tail. Unlike Acts 1 through 4, Act 5 may be the shortest, but it's definitely the most difficult to play through. Small combat areas, as well as explosive enemies, make this a place you may be checked in for a while. After taking our armored vehicle all the way to the train station, we defend ourselves and board the train that will deliver the light mass bomb to the Locust tunnels. At first, I really didn't think this portion would be that difficult, but I was quickly reminded how stupid that thought was. I thought I was gonna kill that guy, but I didn't. After we picked up a torque bow though, things started to move along rather quickly, all the way up until this moment here. You see, I'm no gaming expert, but I do know a thing or two about how to get on trains. And this berserker definitely defies every law that I can think of by randomly popping up at the back of the train where we started. Regardless of how mysteriously it arrived, we had to find a way to get it off the train. What I didn't realize is that you could actually just detach the train carts at the back with this massive green button, which would have been a lot less stressful than what I chose to do by blowing up all the carts, but it was a lot cooler. After blowing up the train, we pushed further ahead, but were stopped by the flying nemesis. Here you have to shoot down all the flying enemies before you are killed, and being provided 2 turrets by the game, I figured that would be the best and easiest route to go, but I was so wrong. The range of movement on these turrets is actually incredibly small, not to mention there will be flying enemies shooting at you from both sides. If you're like me and unable to shoot them before they get too close, you'll be seeing the color red a lot here. But after we found some ammo for the torque bow, we used that and the turret with a combination of the 5 Ds, which as we all know are
dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
After implementing the world's greatest dodgeball technique, we took out each nemesis and then had to fight our way through the annoying Lambent wretches again. This time it wasn't near as difficult, and we made it through this portion on the first try, leading us to the final task this game would require us to complete before becoming a commando. As you all saw in the beginning, General Rom is absolutely ruthless. Not only is he much bigger than us, he also has the ability to command the Krill. In addition to fighting Rom, there will also be flying enemies attacking you from both sides in your attempt. But all of these foes would not stop me from taking Rom down. It wasn't just a game anymore. This was personal. This was for Carmine. This was for Sergeant Kim. This was for that stranded guy that died immediately after we tried to save him, but that doesn't matter. This boss fight would test every skill we had acquired to this point in the game, and I was ready, or so I thought. What was that, bro? With our first attempt ending just about as fast as it started, the next attempt we tried to get around him and shoot him in the back. Unfortunately, as I was making headway using the Lancer, I decided to pull out the torque bow and let one fly into his chest, thinking for sure I could run to cover afterwards. After this, we continued trying everything else we could think of. We used the sniper rifle, which didn't work. We tried the Lancer again and also didn't work. We even found a glitch that would keep him stuck in one place while you took as many shots as you wanted. But as we all know, I'm no cheater and I needed to complete this achievement honestly for you beautiful people. But as we were nearing complete and utter insanity, we saw something in the distance behind our incredibly ugly foe. It was a Troika turret. This had to be the best course of action to take out Rom. So the next attempt, we tried something completely different than all the others. We timed up grenade after grenade, discombobulating Rom, giving us just enough time to make it to the back of the train where the turret was located. We first had to take out the flying enemies on our right and on our left. Then we picked up the turret and let freedom ring like there was no tomorrow. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby. Yes! 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 Let's freaking go, baby! Let's go! Oh my gosh! A dish best served cold, baby. Where's the one I'm waiting for, though? Commando, baby, ladies and gentlemen. Completed all acts on insane difficulty. Upon taking out General Rom, the achievement was finally ours. We were finally a commando. This achievement was a lot of fun to go for, and playing this game again sparked that love for video games I had when I was younger. If you guys enjoyed watching this episode on our video game journey, you'll love this one where I beat the hardest achievement in a game I've never played. Anyways, until next time, peace.